What's up? It's your boy OPMG, and I'm here with another mediocre review. So, the champ that we're reviewing right now is Bishop, one of my all time favorite champs. Now, he's one of my first R5s and one of my first R3s, actually. One of the reasons why I love him is because of one, he's a mutant, which is my favorite class, and two, his ability to actually turn energy attacks into prowess. So, I've got the Winter Soldier fight up right now on display, and you'll see a lot of me catching his specials and turning them into prowess and launching them back. You'll see me purify bleeds because these are some of the things that Bishop has that a lot of people don't know about. Going backwards from the top three reasons why, Bishop is R5 worthy. Number three is his utility. So he is extremely suicide friendly. Now I don't have suicides on right now, but if you look right now, I just purified those bleeds. He does have the ability to regenerate a certain amount of health that would actually cancel out the recoil damage, depending on how high you go. So I believe like every prowess actually heals back 1% of his health. So this is something that is good to know for his utility. So technically, he is bleed immune, technically, because he can stop it and regenerate it. Which brings me to my second point on the third, his regen, his ability to regen. So mine regens about 225 health, which I mean is convenient. It's not that serious. It's not like Deadpool's healing or Apocalypse's healing, but it is good enough to get you back that damage from launching specials or from suicides. So another utility that he has is his ability to bypass armor. So if you launch a special one, which I just did right there, and you'll see that little energy symbol, you'll actually do direct damage depending on how much prowess you have. So if you look, I was hitting for about 2k per hit. Now this damage is unaffected, so they can have as much armor as they want, whatever physical resistance, it does not matter. You're gonna get that damage to go through. And then his damage over time, which is incinerate, but requires you to actually end your previous fight with 2 bars of power. He is a little complicated. So when it comes to taking advantage of his persistent charges, you have to end the fight a certain way. The next is his ability to power gain with damage over time. So any type of energy damage that is put on him, cold snap, limbo, incinerate, shock, he's going to gain power, which you'll see in the upcoming fights. I'll break down his awaken ability once we go into the actual like champion review, but those are like some of the things that I want you guys to be aware about if you ever find yourself using Bishop for questing. You never know what champs people have or what they have it. Everybody isn't a whale, or everybody doesn't have the ability to go after champs until they get them. So that's just one of the things. If you look here, you can see it took me about 160 hits to take out the Winter Soldier, and I mean it wasn't that bad, but it is what it is. Next is skill champs. So parrying skill champs, he actually doubles up on prowess, which is pretty dope because every prowess is about 10% of a special attack increase. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually baiting out the Mole Man to try to get his shock attack or his special one, because I want to absorb his shock. Now I'm not gonna let it hit me, but I am gonna catch it, and you'll see the prowess jump up to 13 immediately. So then from here it's just all she wrote. All I do is I'm probably gonna clap him. Yeah, easy day. Next is Iceman. The cold snap is immediately feeding my prowess, as you can see there. So I can turn that into regen if I want to, or I can just let it store up. And you can watch my power actually gain for every tick of damage over time. It's good to know because there are certain lanes like I forgot what it's called, but it's the node where you have like incinerate and cold snap on, and you take all that energy damage. Bishop just fires up to a special 2 immediately. And it's the same thing with Human Torch. His incinerates are energy damage, so they're barely doing anything to Bishop. That's why he's one of the champs you don't want to run into if you do bring a Human Torch into war or incursions, because all he's going to do is take all those incinerates, gain power, which you can see me doing right now, and then launch it back in the form of a special 3. And I don't know what it is about the computer special 3, the AI special 3 is a one and done. There's no question about it. The last one I have here is going to be magic. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to bait her limbo so you guys can watch as the limbo's on. He actually gains power, or it gains prowess and power. And it gives you the ability to launch it back. So you're not, losing a ton of health. So essentially it heals them. All right. So let's get into the breakdown of Lucas Bishop. All right. One, I want to talk about his design because I feel like they did an extremely detailed job with how they actually designed his character. They gave him his signature red bandana. Um, they gave him the BFG. If you don't know what that is, refer back to an old Doom movie with The Rock. And then he has his character design where he has all the pouches, like just like Cable. I wish him and Cable would have had a synergy. Um, I think they did a really good job. In the comic book, Bishop's like 6'8", like 320 pounds or 280 pounds. One of them, him or Cable, one of them. They're huge, huge dudes. But I think Kabam did a decent job of giving us what Bishop really is. Now, if we look into his abilities, so I wanted to get into the actual second part of why this champion is R5 worthy, and that goes into his awakened ability, which is the foresight, right? So you see I have mine at Sig 200. So with each bar of power that he ends a fight on, he is going to have a specific attribute even at 0. So if you go into a fight and he has 0 bars of power, his special attacks are going to be unblockable once he gets over or above 10 prowess charges. So you can launch specials at defenders, and pretty much their block does not matter if you're going with 0 bars of power. Now, this is convenient for certain nodes, turtling, or, champions that are extremely passive or defensive and you need to break their block, or even, can't think of it right now, but not crumbling armor. Oh, what is it called? The Bane nodes. So when you can't get through their block and you have enough prowess, you can just hit him with one of your specials and he's going to go unblockable. The second one is with a 1 bar of power. He actually gains stun immunity while blocking. Now, a lot of you might think like, okay, well, what is this good for? Well, I've used this for 2 times, for 2 specific events. So I'll go into a fight with 1 bar of power. And the first time I used it was when I was actually fighting a Mordo. So instead of the Mordo evading my my parry and stunning me, it just popped up as stun immune. I wish I could have generated it to show it on video. The second would be against Black Panther. So Black Panther Civil War, whenever you parry him and he has an armor buff, he reparries you. So instead of Bishop getting parried, he will actually, let me put this back on. He will actually be stun immune. And then a node specific that it actually helps with is encroaching stun. So if you go into a fight with 1 bar of power, encroaching stun node, and you hold block, once the timer runs out, Bishop will be stun immune. And then the 80% ability accuracy. Now, I haven't really been able to hone in on what that value is, but if it works like it's supposed to, I mean, yeah, that's going to mean something. The second thing is with 2 bars of power, his special attacks add an extra 40% of incineration damage over time. So I've launched like 80k specials with Bishop, and then I've ticked them for 40k incinerate damage. So it's extremely worth it if you happen to go into a fight with Bishop at 2 bars of power, and let alone the fact that you walk into that fight and you can immediately launch a special too. And then the third and final one is you start with a steady release. So the steady release is the same thing as his firing off his special 1, where he does energy damage through basic attacks. So it's good for bypassing certain nodes or armor ups. For example, my energy damage goes through, what's her name? Emma Frost, when she's in her diamond form. It goes through Electro. I tried to find a dual target for Electro, but I couldn't find one. But I take way less energy recoil damage from hitting him. And also I can once I'm in my steady release state by either entering a fight with a special 3 or firing off a special 2, I can actually do extra damage or damage beyond whatever his barrier is. And I take less back. So the persistent power meter, we're going into his abilities now. Whatever you finish the fight with, however much power you finish the fight with, your next fight you will start off with that amount. So if you finish with a special with 2 bars of power, you can open up the next fight with a special 2. And as we gradually get to the special attacks, you'll actually see the value in that. And then his energy resistance is the highest in the game. Like I even checked on Havoc, and it still does not matter. He has the highest energy resistance in the entire game. The only time that I've really felt energy damage was when I was fighting like Act 6, and I had to fight against certain champs like Magic in the champion lane. And it still wasn't even that bad because normally if I go fight with another champ, I'm ticking for 400. But when I go in with Bishop, I'm ticking for like 100, and then most of the time willpower is going to cancel that out. So that's something that is extremely valuable. He also gains a little bit more power from parrying basic champs, and then he gains 3 prowess from every parry as long as it's not a tech, and he actually gains 6 from every skill champion. So if you break down Korg's shield with Bishop and then you fire off any of the specials, he's going to pay severely. Now his regeneration is cool because it's on target. Now I feel like they could have did a better job and made it stronger or more potent. But if you look here, it says 194 per prowess consumed. After all your masters is set up, it's usually around like 220, which is roughly 1%, which is, I mean, it's okay, but you have to be a patient fighter. So this is what I was saying earlier when I was saying he's suicide friendly, because that's just 5 ticks of prowess if you have the basic recoil on. You can launch your special and then parry, gain it all back, and you can just go ahead and proceed. And as you gain those actual prowess and regen, it's almost like it's canceling it all out, so you're not really taking any damage if you can generate it back at will. Now it's not a good pace, but you can generate that damage at will. And then the special attacks, I already told you guys, special attacks, they generate 10% plus damage per prowess. The most you can have is 30 before you start to degen from the overload, but I'm going to get to that towards the end of this. And it's just something to consider. So if he holds 3 bars of power for over 9 seconds, or he has over 30 prowess stacks, he will start to degenerate because he has too much power. It would be dope if Kabam would take that away, but I think Bishop would be pretty OP because I've parried champs, and like the biggest special I've ever fired off with the most amount of prowess has been, I think, like 58. And it was a special 3, and it just sucks because I still feel like Realm of Legends is capped. Like I can't do any more than 50k damage sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty effective from there. Next, he has certain quirks for each one of his special attacks. Like if you launch them within the first 12 seconds, or above 15%, or right below 15%, or above 85%, you can read more into that. But it really doesn't matter. If anything, I feel like that holds the champ back because his damage is really inconsistent. Like when I need him to do big damage, he usually doesn't, and then when I don't need him to do it, he usually does. So it's weird. I don't know how to explain it. So I feel like he's up there with Red Guardian. Like, Red Guardian special 2 is supposed to be like mega damage, but every now and then, you get it or you won't. It's weird. But those are some of the stats, or the base stats of his special attacks. Now, if we get into the actual negative points of Bishop, he does not generate prowess against tech champs, which is weird because when he's an attacker, I won't generate any prowess. But if I fight Bishop with the tech champ, he generates it. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure this is a glitch or something that Kabam needs to fix, or maybe it's just something that the computer has as an attribute to themselves, but it's pretty jacked up because power is power. You know what I mean? Like we all learn that even with Magneto. Like Magneto destroys tech champs. If Ultron shoots a beam at Bishop, he should be able to absorb it. You know, the class advantage should really matter. That's just my personal opinion on that. And then the power overload. So if you look here, the power overload, in short, it's pretty much reverse healing. So if you have too much prowess, or you hold on to your special 3 too long, Bishop cannot hold all of that power. And what happens is he actually starts to degenerate, and it gets stronger over time. So I've saved up about 40 to 58 prowess at the most, but you know, every time I launch it, I'm always left with like 30k health because it takes so much time to build up. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a cap on this because of his defensive capabilities. With the right placement, if you place him somewhere where somebody has to bring torch, you know, but most of the time, if they got to bring torch, they're going to bring warlock. It is what it is. If you place him somewhere where, you know, damage over time or energy damage over time gets put on him, then he has the potential to blow them up. Straightforward. I've taken out Dooms with Bishop because I can absorb all the incinerate and even the shock damage. It does nothing but build me up. But he has the ability to blow people up. And I've used him in incursions. The damage is awesome. He's unique. He is a difficult champ to master. And I mean, I've been playing with him for about 4 years now. And I consider myself really good. I think sometimes his damage output holds me back because if it was a little bit more consistent, he'd be a lot more lethal. But I feel like the game is kind of like messed up with the prowess scale for Bishop specifically. His synergies are cool. Excuse me, pause. He has 2 synergies that are cool. The rest of them are generic. But the Psylocke one is dope because if you pair her up with Bishop, they essentially power lock an opponent for every bar of power they gain. So if you're fighting Hyperion and he gains a bar of power, or anybody, even Vision, he will lock that power. He will power lock them for 1 second, just enough to stop them or pause them before they start gaining power into their next special. This has been pretty significant whenever I've had to use him in arena or even in basic fights against Vision Arcus, because once he gets so many power gains, his power goes up really fast, or even against Havoc. So it'll give me a second to power. Bishop versus Havoc is not a good matchup. Bishop versus Torch is not a good matchup. As an attacker, it's just not good. But, you know, as a defender, it's pretty dope. Everybody else, Storm, regular Storm, Electro, Doctor Strange, and Cyclops, they give him 2 prowess charges at the beginning of the fight and 8% power, and then he just gives them energy resistance, which is pretty trash. Now, one of the synergies that was actually pretty interesting, I've played around with it before, but I guess it's not as effective as I thought it should be, was his synergy with Storm Pyramid X. So every 15 seconds, he generates a power gain buff, which grants 20% of a full bar power over 5 seconds. All right, so this is dope if I have a long fight. But if I don't have a long fight, then I'm not really gonna need this. Most of Bishop's damage lays in his special 2. So you pretty much want to parry, gets his special 2 and launch it, and then rinse and repeat. But then I looked further on, and it says each prowess special increases special attack damage by an additional 3%. Okay, so I'm just going to be honest, and I can't really tell the difference between damage with him. I just can't. Now, if I do get some content where I get to use him or something like that, then yeah, sure. But I really can't tell the difference. And I'm not going to put myself or see myself in a situation where I'm like, oh my God, I got to bring Bishop to war with Storm Pyramid X. I mean, that's just not something, you know, that happens. But that is it's a cool synergy to have. I haven't paired him up with Magneto yet, and I haven't turned him to a Horseman, but I can imagine if I did those things, then he would probably be even more savage. I just don't know how him turning to a horseman with the 30% offensive ability accuracy would really help him, unless it was pertaining to his persistent charges. But yeah, I have to look more into that. But overall, if we're being 100% honest, is Bishop one of my top 10 R5 champions? No, he's not. No. But if I had to pick, somebody to use an R4 rank up gem on, and I had him, yeah, I'd definitely use him. If you're stuck at lower level content because of Magic or Iceman or Electro, then he can help you out. He can help you out. If you're patient, he can get you to the point where you sit there and you box and you regen and you launch your special two. He can end fight. He can end fights pretty quick too if he starts with a bunch of prowess. So you can get you a couple parries in there. And if you learn how to catch projectiles, he can gain prowess extremely fast. You can fire off special twos. So this sums up my review, my mediocre review for Lucas Bishop. Leave, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to answer them. Peace.